Okay, so now let's look at some more logs, and this time we've changed the base so that it's base 10. Okay, so check out up here, and let's try our new way of looking at it. So when we see log, we know that we're looking for an exponent. So we're trying, instead of putting 100, we're trying to figure out an exponent that we can use to represent 100. Well, what do you mean use an exponent to represent 100? Well, what I mean is take this base and then pick some number that you can write up here as its exponent, and that should give you 100. So 10 to the what equals 100? Oh, well, 10 to the 2 equals 100. So the answer is 2. Okay, so what the statement actually means is log base 10 of 100 is equal to the exponent that we write, that we put, let's say, because it's shorter, on 10 to make 100. That is what the log does. 100. So what exponent do I put on 10? What number would I fill in this little square if I wanted it to equal to 1,000? Well, the answer, which I write over here, not here, is 3. Because 10 to the power 3 equals 1,000. Okay. Now this, a little bit harder question. It's asked me, what exponent do I have to write on 10 to make 500? Okay, this one is crazy, so let's just do what we can do when things get out of hand and we can't just think about it. So we put ourselves y here and we rewrite it in exponential form. Always an option. Base is 10. The thing I'm looking for is the exponent I have to write on that, and the answer that I'm going to get when I do that is 500. Ooh, wow, this is a bit confusing because we just saw that 10 to the 2 is equal to 100, and that 10 to the 3 is equal to, what's that? 10 to the 3 is equal to 1,000, which tells me that if I want to put 10 to the something to equal 500, since 500 is right in between here, I'm going to have an exponent somewhere between 2 and 3. And I'm telling you right now, I cannot think of this in my head. And if you're thinking that maybe it's 5, let me just remind you that these are exponents, which mean repeated multiplication by the base. So this would never get you 50. This would get you, let's see, I guess 500,000. That would get you a really big number. So I know you weren't thinking this, but just in case, because sometimes our mind goes crazy and thinks about multiplying these, but no, that's not what you do. Okay, so I digress there. Trying to prevent you from a mistake you would never make anyway. Okay, so how can we solve this? So rewriting it as an exponent actually didn't help us this time because it's not something I can figure out for myself. I need some kind of support. So I'm going to get that from my calculator. And in order to do that, I have to understand a convention. So let's just go down here to something that's kind of familiar with you. Way back when, there were only square roots, but then there were cube roots and fourth roots and fifth roots and all kinds of things like that. So in order to specify what kind of root it is, we put a little number up here. So the cube root of 8 is equal to the number that we have to cube to get 8. So the answer is 2. Okay? Whereas the square root is equal to the number that we have to square to get the thing. So the square root of 25 is 5. Okay? But we never write this little 2 here because this is the thing we like to do most often. We like to take the square root. Cube root, not so much. Fourth root, fifth root, even less. This is the thing we use the most. So in order to make our life simpler, we decided that, well, when we're doing a square root, let's just not write anything, because this is what we do most often. So when you see this, you kind of know that there's an imaginary little 2 there. Okay? Remember that? I hope you do. Okay. So let's get all these square roots out of here because they don't have that much to do with us. The only thing they have to do with it is you can take logs with all kinds of different bases. Like in the previous video, we took logs base 3. You can take logs base 2, logs base 5, logs base 10. So usually right down here sits the number telling us what the base is. Okay, but guess which number is most popular and common? Well, 10 is a pretty big one. We like to count in groups of 10s. Multiplying by 10 is easy. Scientific notation works with 10s. So 10 is one of the most commonly used bases. So what we do is we just don't write it. Okay? So if you see a log with no base, that means base 10. Means base 10. Okay, cool. Now let's get our calculator. Look at this awesome little calculator I got just by Googling calculator. Nice, hey? Okay, so let's just clear this. I don't know why that's on there. So now I'm going to take a log. Oh, did I press it first on this one? Yeah, log. And I'm claiming that because there's no little number down here, this means log base 10. So let's check it with something we know. The log base 10 of 100 should be 2. Because, remember, 2 is the exponent I would have to write on 10 to make 100. And lo and behold, it gives the answer of 2. So, seems to be working properly. Obviously, here the base is 10, because 10 to the 2 is the only thing that equals 100. Okay, so let's clear that out of the way. So now we can figure out what the log of 500 is. So I just pressed log 500, and what do I get? 2.69897. Okay, so let's bring that over here, and the log of 500 is, oh, I can't bring that over there. Okay, so anyway, we'll just say it's equal to 2.69, roughly. Okay, so the log of 500 is equal to 2.69, which means that our base, which is 10, to the power of 2.69 should be equal to 500. Okay, so there it is, sitting right between 2, which would give me 100, and 3, which would give me 1,000.